In part 2, I preview the exterior features of the all-carbon fiber HH Catamarans HH50. Hi, I'm Scott Rocknak, and welcome back. Just like the 55, we have a winch on either side of the wheel. We have a bunch of clutches here, and we bring everything back pretty much symmetrical on both sides. There's a few things that are one side or the other, but your stasis on both sides, your solenoid is on both sides, and there's a thing we can do to bring the reacher on both sides. Here's a quick illustration of how the lines are led aft on the HH50. The reacher roller furler is on the port side. That's a continuous line. On the starboard side is the solent and the staysail roller furler. At both helms you have the Mainsheet, the barber hauler, the staysail sheet, and both solent sheets. On the starboard side you have a topping lift, a main halyard, a Cunningham, downhaul, all three of your reefs for your main. On the port side you have your reacher halyard and your staysail halyard. On the longeron you have your forward sail downhaul and your staysail downhaul. So you can have your B&G here. We have a couple different sizes you can do. You don't have to do B&G, but it's one that we recommend because it interfaces with a few other things we have on board. Your throttles are here, and they are fly-by-wire, and it's just like every other HH. You push the button to decide what side of the boat that you're on. This is a carbon fiber wheel. There's a bin in here for all your lines that come off your clutches, so it's not in your way. It's not getting caught in your throttle. Everything is clear for you to be able to hit the touchscreen. You can see I can touch the touchscreen from here, standing up. So everything is within reach. We'll have all kinds of buttons for a variety of things. We have all kinds of kill buttons for the winches as well. On the sides here you have a shelf space. There's a USB connection there and a 12-volt connection. So it's a great place to have an iPad or a tablet of some sort as your secondary navigation. But then again, you could put your sandwich there as well. It's a pretty nice little shelf. This gives you a better idea of the winches. There's two options for winches on the boat. There's a Lumar option, there's a Harken option. I can describe to you what the differences are. This one is a 2-speed Harken that's on here now. Your throttles, everything like that. But if you do want to step out and see what's going on, you simply just walk to the side, and then you can look forward, look right down the path. You don't have to move the wheel. You don't have to worry about stepping on a small step or anything like that. It's all natural. Here I'm using an HH55 to illustrate that you can simply just move out to the deck and have a clear line of sight. You could also remove the polycarbonate panel and flip it up against the roof to have nothing in front of you in front of the wheel. This is very comfortable. The little cushion here is about 1 inch thick. It goes up halfway, but there's method to the madness here. When you lean against it, it sort of all blends into one. So I've got my feet completely within the seat. It's very, very comfortable. It's a great place to do watch from, that's for sure. My toes easily touch the wheel. Sitting down forward, I can lean about this far back without having to stand up. And standing up, I have a nice little bolster. You have immediate access to all your important instrumentation, sail controls, and you have excellent visibility day or night. The helm design is set up so you can be totally enclosed from inclement weather if you wanted to. You can have a polycarbonate forward section or Stratoglass roll-up sections on the side and aft. Be totally enclosed and have all your lines led aft. So the design setup for this is pretty good, so you can stay here and not have to move around. From your viewpoint standing behind the helm, you can easily look up and see what's going on your mast. Look at your forward sail, check your mainsail out. And that's without even having to look overhead to the clear panel that's directly over you. From this little inset here, there are two 12-volt outlets. Great for hooking up a phone and an iPad or a tablet for additional navigation systems. This will get the teak, the Flexi-Teak here, or real teak, it's up to you, or you can just have a non-skid. This is the Flexi-Teak floor. It looks just like teak. It actually has a grain, you can feel it. So it'll have some coefficient of friction on your feet, meaning it has non-skid. In this particular case, it's sort of a just washed look, and it has the white holly strips. It's a very pleasant a very pleasant option for the boat. You wouldn't know it's not teak until you pick it up. Underneath of it are grooves to accept the sealant, and it simply just glues down to the floor. This is a rather unique transom. You can imagine yourself in a chair sitting here, or two chairs, just enjoying whatever you want to enjoy. But there's a good open space on the side to get on your dinghy. There actually are places to put chairs. You could be sitting on the steps. You could be taking a shower. So both transoms are asymmetrical to each other, but they're easy to work on, easy to get your dock lines, easy to get on and off the boat. The davits have their own control lines, and they can be used with the reacher winches. All of the cleats are the Antel RC290 roller cleats. The Traveler Basin transom has storage lockers underneath. The emergency tiller is stainless steel, can go in either hull, and it's situated in such a way that when you use it, you are just a few steps from the helm. This is the rough size of a grill. This is where I'd put it. You can actually move it, depends on what your dinghy is doing, but you can do it like this as well, have it so you can turn it around. These are the rudders for the HH50. It's all carbon fiber. Nice little nacro foil here. They're fairly lightweight. I won't pick them too far because they're fairing them right now. But these will be all epoxy coated, and then they're going to be painted. On the crossbeam on the HH55 is all one piece, carbon fiber. It's faired, primed, and then painted. It's everything, including the martingale, is all one structure, as you can see. This is the salon roof for the OC50. It has carbon fiber vertical supports and some cross members, but the rest of it is E-glass with a core. The section here is actually heavier than the one for the HH50, which I can actually pick up by doing this, versus this one, which I can wiggle. This is an HH50 top, so it's all carbon fiber. And the other boat you could see with the E-glass version that I can wiggle the top, but this one I can actually lift it a little bit. So there is a difference between the weight. When the boats are shipped, they're shipped with a shipping rudder. This is just a temporary rudder that gets returned to the factory, but this allows the boat to sit in the cradle on the ship, be able to put in the water, driven over to where the mast is going to be put on the mast, drop these out, and put on the regular rudders that ship inside the boat. So with the overhead view, we see that it has level decks from the helm all the way to the bow. There are large forward lockers for sails, bikes, inflatable kayaks, and so forth. Clear, easy line of sight from the helms when you step to the side, or if you're behind the helm itself. There are steps just after the mast to be able to get up onto the top of the salon roof, and there is non-skid underneath of the boom so you can do sail handling. The transoms are large enough to be able to put a chair on them, and they're side accessed, so when you're alongside of a dock, you can get it on and off the boat easily. Dinghy handling is straightforward. You could bring the dinghy alongside to either side of the transom to be able to get on and off. And the davits themselves can support a dinghy just about 13 feet long. The dinghy here in the photograph is 12 feet. Well, here's the big giveaway. If it's an HH50 or an OC50, there's a hole here. Well, the hole's for the daggerboard, and they stick up, and they're C-shaped when they go down. So on the carbon fiber HH50s, you have a daggerboard, and it's your option to have a line driver for it. You can either have it be a manual up and down with the daggerboard or the line driver. The advantage of the line driver is that it's push button from both wheels in the boat, so you can go up and down easily. And so when you're tacking, and that's when you move your daggerboards, because you don't do it when it's under low, and you do it when you're tacking, you can do it all by push button, and that's what this Antel line driver does. The mast goes here. Now you're going to look at this and you're going to say, oh, you have a rotating mast. Well, that is a rotating mast fixture, but we don't use it. It's a very small percentage that we would gain, so we don't want the complexity of a rotating mast. It's just not worth the effort. But the ball is ideal for the way that you attach it. So it fixes here, attaches there. You still have ventilation. On the sides here, you can have steps that go up. And that's unusual, not unusual, it's different from the 55 in that we have more steps on the 50 than we do on the 55 to get up. It's a sort of something we've learned after we built the 55. The track here goes the entire width of the bridge deck, and it's curved, and that's for your self-tacking space. Under here is a generator, and under here is storage and also access to your chain locker. The hatches are all forward opening, so they act like ram. This is for the shower, and then that's for the head. And they're all located within a clear line of sight of the bow, meaning that when you're at anchor, air gets into those cabins. It's not blocked by something. And that's normally the case on most catamarans on the forward hatches, but the aft one, sometimes on some boats, is behind the salon or behind the deck house. Well, in this case, on this boat, it's not. It's on the deck, so it allows a lot of air to come straight down from the bow to the aft cabin, allowing that to be a premier cabin for ventilation, as well as a forward cabin if you're on a four-cabin boat or on the other side of those two cabins. This is the hatch for the aft cabin, so it comes up and allows air right from the side here and here to come right down into the cabin. These stanchions here, right here, are a little bit taller than normal because it has the 3 lines, and that is an option that you can do. The standard is a little bit shorter, but you can go to the optional taller 3-line stanchions, very similar to that's on the 55. The 55 is about this much taller, but this is still a pretty good height. This boat is painted in Matterhorn white. It's a nice white with a little bit of gray in it, so you don't have a refrigerator white glare. It's a little different from other boats. It's just, there's 17 shades of white that you can buy from Allbird, I think probably even more. This is Alex Seal with the same number. This is Matterhorn. The panels are all sealed down, but they are removable. They have built-in non-skid. These are solar bands, and they have the ability, if you shade one side, the other side still works. Also here on the deck, we have the handhold for your fingers that's built in. It also acts like a channel, and there are drains for that. Then we have, for the mast, we have all your return blocks. And then we have a track over here for your Solent. And you'll see how close that is towards the center, allowing you to sheet at a very tight angle. And the advantage to that, besides being able to head up higher, is that we can get closer to wind speed, even with a small sail in lighter air. So that's one of those advantages there. This is used for the barber hauler, but it's also used when the barber hauler goes through, because we can release it for your sheets for your storm sail. This boat is going to have the Intel line drivers to pull the dagger boards up and down. Here's an assembled C-shaped dagger board for the 50. It's going to be finished in another room and highly polished. You can paint them white or paint them black. And there's a port and starboard version of it. These dagger boards are tested inside of a jig under several thousand pounds of pressure to simulate what it actually would do in real-world situations. Like the 55, there's a little bit of a channel here that you can use as a handhold. The windows go over a fairly large flange here. This is all carbon fiber, part of the original salon roof structure. So they all adhere with at least an inch to an inch and a half on the bottom and the top, and almost 3 inches on the side. The 50 shares the large forward lockers like the 55 and the 66 before it. They allow real-world storage. The starboard locker has a ladder instead of steps. The steps on the other side, on the port side, are hiding a water maker and some other storage. But you can do anything you want for shelving in here if you wanted to, or hangers. Underneath where I am, there's space for a bow thruster. And that has its own bilge pump in here. That's an all carbon fiber hatch on this boat, so it's fairly light. You could also have your bow thruster powered by the house batteries, which would be right behind the bulkhead. So that's an option if you want to do that rather than have the additional weight of the extra 2 batteries for the bow thruster. So that's something you can think about. And up forward, of course, is the crash bulkhead. There's a mini bulkhead here, and it's all finished in a semi-gloss, so it's pretty easy to keep clean. This is a carbon fiber mast for the HH50. The OC50s have a standard aluminum mast. You can get the carbon fiber mast on the OC50. In this size boat, you still can carry the same sail plane between an aluminum mast and a carbon fiber mast, but this can handle more, it's a stiffer mast and can handle more stress. If we were doing a larger boat, the aluminum mast would have to have additional spreaders. It would have to have more shrouds holding it up just to be able to take the load. Carbon fiber can do it with less. In this case, we have some stainless steel diamond wires that are rod rigging. Other parts of the mast are K49, where you have a a mix of carbon fiber and Kevlar. This particular mast has the single track on it, and we've added a few extra things like steps to get, when you're coming up on a chair, you can get to the very top of the mast. And there's some other very unique features to this mast. One of the unique things on this mast is this ring that we put here. Now, this is not for a downwind sail. This is actually added so you can hook into your, as a safety, for your bosun's chair. The downwind sail on this boat right here is used with a bullet block. It releases with a small line, locks in place. That way you can keep a smaller line holding up the sail because it's locked in place. It's not using the line to hold it up. Right here is the roller furler for the forward sail. Now you leave that on there. That stays on. You don't change it. We have other ways that you can have forward sails. You have a potential for an asymmetrical. You have a downwind sail. You can have a self-tacking jib like a staysail, and you could also have a storm jib. Here's an example with an HH50. This is the asymmetrical spinnaker. This is the reacher, or code 0. And here we're using the overlapping jib of the solid. There's also the choice of the staysail, which would be aft of the solid. The main has 3 reefs, and that all folds into a zippered bag. This is the boom for the HH50. You have a pipe that comes out on either side, supports here, allows you to catch the sail and move it inboard for you to fold it. This particular boom is aluminum, but you can also get carbon fiber. The spreaders are all carbon fiber. You have attachment points for up and down lights if you wish, cell phone antennas, radar, etc. It's all pre-done and pre-wired here. Subscribe to see a future video, essentially a video manual on how to use this mast. The props on the boat are counter-rotating. This is a 16.5 by 11. There's a zinc here, a split zinc here, another split zinc right here. They all can be changed underwater. You do not need to haul this boat to change the lower unit oil. This oil can be changed from inside the boat when it's in the water, or if you're out for service, you can change it this way too. You have a choice of 2 different engines. This is the Beta Marine mechanical diesel with a 185 amp 24 volt alternator. The other engine would be a 40 horsepower 3-cylinder Yanmar. On the lower unit there are 2 glands on the inside, and then covering that for protection is a carbon fiber plate. On a lot of boats you'll find that it's just one of the glands. This actually has a plate over the top of it for protection. The rudder bearing is right here where I'm moving my hand. Carbon fiber rudder post goes right in through here. It's very easy to change the rudders on this boat even when it's in the water. The lower unit is actually higher than the deeper part of the hull, and it's higher than the rudder and higher than the dagger board.